Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
What is up, people, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode here at the Bahrain Grand Prix for round 3 of this first season. And if you have missed the first 2 previous episodes, go catch up with the card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens, and also go check them out in the description down below as well. But heading into today's race, we've got 3 new parts fitted to the car. Got a new engine upgrade on that one, so that should really help us down the straights of this circuit. We've also increased the durability of our internal combustion engine and also the motor generator unit heat, so the MGUH, because both of those parts were probably seeming the most worn after the first 2 races. It's quite strange after 2 races of the season that that the engine was wearing quite a bit. But heading into the practice session, because we need to get some more resource points to sort of spend them on durability of the car and also upgrade the chassis, which we're going to go for next. I think the chassis is probably the best thing to go for, or durability of maybe the gearbox or another part of the engine. But heading straight into the track acclimatization, got a purple score on that one, which was pretty decent. Then doing the tyre wear test, also getting a purple score. I struggled here though with the pace of the car. I struggled to meet the target times by quite a bit, like only just 3 tenths quicker than that one there. But getting low tyre wear, getting the purple score, which is really good. This one was a struggle though, the fuel management, which we have been struggling in the first 3 rounds of this season so far, and again just about beating the target time by 1/10 of a second. So we need to not only find some pace in this season, as we weren't even in the top 13 in the practice session, I think we were right down at the bottom of the field, but we need to find some pace in practice and also manage to do the fuel management as well. But doing the qualifying test, unfortunately, we really struggled yet again with the pace of this car. Couldn't even beat the qualifying target time. Couldn't even beat the green one. I think that might be mainly because the engine is starting to get a bit more worn in this season. We are using all the old engine components, and we will be using new ones for the future sessions. But doing the race strategy one, getting the purple score in that session, which means more resource points in the bank and available to spend. Here we go. We're changing pretty much our whole engine, just keeping the energy store on the first part. The turbocharger will be moved on to the second part as well, and the control electronics we will keep on the first part. So new engine components at the moment, and that was the end of FP2. We didn't go into FP3, so let's head into qualifying.
Cars are ready, the drivers are ready. We hope you're ready as qualifying is about to begin here in Bahrain. I want to talk briefly about the strategy in these qualifying sessions. Anthony Davidson, how can a driver adjust their approach to gain those critical extra tenths of a second?
Well, qualifying isn't about adjusting your approach necessarily. It's more about trying to repeat a low fuel run that you've practiced prior to this session. You're looking for perfection on the lap, and that's hard to achieve if you're trying something new. There are some variables that can stand in your way, however. Track position or unexpected yellow flags, for example. Coupled with ever-changing track conditions, it's important to be out there at the right moment. But as a driver, you have to try and ignore these distractions and just keep your mind focused on that one perfect lap.
Here we go then, qualifying time for the Bahrain Grand Prix, a session which we have struggled in so far this season. We really do struggle to sort out our 1 lap pace, so hopefully, fingers crossed this time around, we can get out of Q1 and into Q2. But first of all, our first lap, probably not the best one, a 32.047, only just quicker than Marcus Ericsson. Once again, down in P16 as we go through the final corner now for our final lap in this qualifying session. Will it be enough to beat the clock and get into Q2? Lewis Hamilton quickest so far, coming down towards the line, currently 1/10 quicker. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I think that's probably us out of Q1. Once again, it is, unfortunately. Really struggling with the qualifying sessions this season, just struggling for 1 lap pace. If you guys know me from previous episodes, then from previous career modes, then you know that qualifying and 1 lap pace is where I usually struggle. I'm really good in the race, I'm really good at saving my tyres and being able to utilise those, but 1 lap pace, I'm just not very good at just throwing the car into the corners. I just need to be a bit more aggressive into the session, so hopefully we can fix that for the Russian Grand Prix. But disappointing, really disappointing to be starting way down the field in 16th place, behind my teammate as well of Nico Hülkenberg. So once again, losing out to Nico Hülkenberg in the teammate battle between the two of us. But P16, we're going to have some fun, hopefully make a few overtakes and maybe get into the points. I'm sort of aiming for, well, the top 10. I want to get some points here today, so fingers crossed we can do that. So without any further ado, let's head over to the race for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past.
This is one of those circuits where the safety car always seems to come out just at the right time to condense the field together and mix up the cars on different strategies. It's hard on brakes, it's tough on fuel, and the main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1, where it's easy to outbrake your opponent and potentially have a bit of argy-bargy as well.
It's race day here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, starting in a slightly disappointing P16 on the grid. We really need to sort out our qualifying sessions as the season goes on, but taking a look at the race strategy for today, and the team either want me to go for a super softs, then a medium strategy, or go for super softs, then softs. I think I'm going to go for the second one, because I want to be as quick as I possibly can in this race, and I also think that I have the capabilities to hold on to the tyres and make them last for as long as possible in this race. So I'm going to go super softs for the rest of the race. So let's head down to the starting grid and get the Bahrain Grand Prix underway as the lights are coming on now. We go to 5 red lights. It is lights out, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. We've got Nico Hülkenberg just ahead of us in P15, but losing out to the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson going down in towards turn 1. We haven't really had the best of starts so far this season, but up the inside of Carlos Sainz and Nico Hülkenberg, sort of getting our nose up in there, but unfortunately not able to get the job done. So go around the outside of Fernando Alonso down in towards turn 2 there and getting the job done on the McLaren driver, holding on to P16 at the moment, trying to see whether we can sort of get anything on Nico Hülkenberg down in towards turn 3. Nothing, unfortunately, through those next couple of corners, and we're just going to have to settle for P16 at the moment. Just sort of bide our time, wait and see what we can do, look for an opening, and try and get past Nico Hülkenberg. So they're going to brake very heavily down in towards this hairpin. We have a little look up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg, side by side with my teammate, but he gets a better exit out of turn 8 there and down towards turn 9 and turn 10. Really tricky corner on this circuit. So easy to lock up and just go straight into the back of someone. And for now, just holding on to P16 for the time being as we have a look at a replay now of the start on board with Max Verstappen. So something went on between Max Verstappen and somebody else down in towards turn 1. Let's have a little look, because there was a great start there from Daniel Ricciardo from P4 all the way up into P3 down in towards turn 1, and oh, there's the contact. Max Verstappen just having a slight little nudge into the back of Daniel Ricciardo, and that's forced him wide. He broke the golden rule of Formula 1, never ever hit your teammate in this series, but unfortunately for Max Verstappen it has happened here today, and we're watching on board with Daniel Ricciardo, who's actually dropped down into 9th position because of that. But just look at the start in between both Ferraris down in towards turn 1, sort of gets blocked off by the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, and there's the contact between him and Max Verstappen, forcing him wide, and just losing a heap of positions down towards turn 2, pinned on the inside, and that lost him even more time as he sort of lost the back end through that corner, through turn 2 and turn 3, overtaken by the Williams of Massa and the Force India of, I believe, Sergio Perez on his right-hand side, down in towards turn 3. And does he get the job done on the Force India drive? I think he does. Yes, he does. Better exit out of that corner, but has to settle for P9 at the end of the day for what could have been P3, could have been onto the podium positions for this race, but unfortunately for him, it's way down in P9. So we're cutting ahead to the end, the start of lap 2 of this Bahrain Grand Prix on the back of Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. We're watching Kevin Magnussen going side by side with a driver in front of him as we're getting a great run on Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen down in towards turn 3, up the inside of my teammate, maybe even Kevin Magnussen as well. A little bit of a wheel tap between the two of us, side by side through turn 4, down in towards turns 5, 6 and 7. Here we go side by side with Kevin Magnussen, a little bit of a wheel bang once again. But there we go, getting the job done as we go down into the hairpin of turn 8. Moving up into P14, so that's 2 positions in the space of 1 lap. And now we're cutting ahead to lap 5 of this Bahrain Grand Prix, right on the tail of Danny Kvyat in that Toro Rosso, using the DRS to our advantage, taking up that toe all the way down into turn 1, and on the right hand side with this upgraded power unit, there we go, down into turn 1, job done, and up into P11 on the edge of the points for today's Bahrain Grand Prix. If we could score points here today after really struggling in the qualifying session, then that'd be absolutely fantastic, as we've got a few drivers coming into the pits at the moment. So that's going to push us up into P8 for the time being. Lewis Hamilton coming out just ahead of us after the pit stop phase. Lewis Hamilton doing a great job at the moment in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Way ahead of everybody else at the moment, currently in the lead. As we're cutting ahead a little bit further into this race. More drivers into the pits. That's going to push us up into P4 now on the start of lap 9. But we've got Valtteri Bottas right on our tail. He's not going to go for the overtake down in towards turn 1. Just going to bide his time for the moment. We're not going to fight him. If he goes for the overtake, we're not going to fight him at all, just like what happened in Australia. There's no point fighting with the Mercedes driver. He's so much quicker than us, and if we do try to fight him through the course of this lap, it's only going to slow us down, and that could lose us vital seconds to the guys who have done the undercut on us. I think a lot of other drivers are going for the same strategy, the two-stop strategy, but they're going for the softs and then the mediums after this super stop set. So we're coming into pits now for our first pit stop in this race on lap 10. So into the pits we go, onto a set of super soft tyres now, which we will be running for quite a while in this race, probably to around lap 16, 17 of this Bahrain Grand Prix. But into the pits we go. We've got a Toro Rosso just ahead of us at the moment. I believe that is Carlos Sainz at the moment in this race. So whereabouts are we going to come out of the pit stop phase? And is it going to be ahead of course, we were battling with Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Kvyat. So whereabouts is it going to be in terms of those guys? Nico Hülkenberg's got the job done on us, and so is Danny Kvyat. They're down in towards turn 1. Unfortunately, losing out to the Toro Rosso driver, and we've got it all to do again. Got to work way back through the field here with this sort of slight overcut on the other drivers. That's the risk that you run on doing the overcut, you know, getting jumped by the other guys. We're watching this battle unfold for the lead of the race between Kimi Räikkönen and Lewis Hamilton, going down in towards the final corner. Here goes Kimi Räikkönen on the right-hand side of Lewis Hamilton, side by side between the two race leaders. Kimi Räikkönen up the inside, keeping his cool here in the heat of Bahrain, down in towards the start-finish straight now. Here we go, Kimi Räikkönen on the right-hand side, gets the job done using the DRS and that faster straight-line speed of the Ferrari down in towards turn 1. And it's job done for Kimi Räikkönen into the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. And now he's got to try and keep hold of it. If he can win today's race, then that will be 3 different race winners in the first 3 races this season, which is absolutely fantastic. Valtteri Bottas at the moment leads the way in the championship, but Lewis Hamilton could change that with a P2 or a race win here today. But cutting ahead to lap 13 of our own race, catching up now to Danny Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg, going down in towards turn 1. Using the slipstream and the DRS on both Nico Hülkenberg and Kvyat, as they're going to go side by side down in towards turn 1. So we're going to brake a little bit earlier down in towards the first corner, sort of, you know, wait this out. There's no point at the moment. I'm not going to be able to get past them through turn 2 or turn 3 as we get so close up to the back of Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Kvyat. Now we may be able to make it 3 wide, which we're going to try. 3 wide down in towards turn 4. Here we go, up the inside of Danny Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg, giving them as much room as I possibly can, but Kvyat wanting to take more as we bang side by side down towards turn 4, into turn 5, 6 and 7, having to back out of that. There was no way we were fitting 3 drivers through that corner. Unfortunately, I was the driver who lost out through that, but that was absolutely incredible. 3 wide for the space of at least 3 corners around that sector 1, sector 2 there. So that was absolutely incredible stuff, but unfortunately not getting the overtake on either Danny Kvyat or Nico Hülkenberg. But for Danny Kvyat, he's dropped off the back of my teammate now, so this is going to give me a great opportunity to use the DRS to our advantage, to go up the inside down in towards turn 1 and hopefully move up into P14 for today's race. Here we go on Danny Kvyat on the right hand side. Gonna have to be a bit of a late lunge up the inside on Danny Kvyat, side by side once again, wheel to wheel action between the two of us, as there was a little bit of a tire bang. We've got to go round the outside and then inside of turn 3 as Kvyat sort of forced us out wide there on the exit of turn 2, start of turn 3, down towards turn 4. It's still side by side between the two of us, up the inside, down towards this corner. It's so close once again between myself and Danny Kvyat. Here we go, in towards turn 5, 6 and 7, and this time around I think I've got the job done. Slight amount of contact once again through turn 6, but there we go, job done up into P14, and now we are able to catch up to my teammate of Nico Hülkenberg. Of course, we want to score points once again this season, and we also want to beat my teammate. Beating my teammate is the most important thing that I can do in a race if I'm not going to score points. So we're going to see what we can do over the course of the rest of the race. I think there is still a chance, though, that we can score some decent points in today's Bahrain Grand Prix. We've got a few drivers coming into pits, including my teammate of Nico Hülkenberg. So those guys coming into the pits at the moment, and I should come out in P10, maybe P9. We might come out just behind Felipe Massa, who is currently in that 9th position at the moment, which we do just behind the Williams driver. And just like with Valtteri Bottas earlier on, there's no point of us trying to battle with the Williams driver. It's just going to slow us down and hold us up, and we're coming into the pits 1 lap later anyway for lap 19. So here we go, second pit stop of this Bahrain Grand Prix, pitting from 10th in the standing orders at the moment. So I think that is Lance Stroll getting past us. Yes, it is Lance Stroll moving up into P10. We're down to P11 at the moment. But here we are getting service from the Renault team. What is the pit stop going to be? It's a 2.9 second stop. Struggling with the pit stops quite a bit this season, mainly because it's just my own fault of releasing the clutch at the right time and releasing it a little bit too late, not reacting to the lights well enough. And we've come out in P15 for this Bahrain Grand Prix. But have we got Danny Kvyat down in towards turn 1? Yes, we have. This time around, not having to deal with that Toro Rosso driver and holding on to P15. But unfortunately, we have lost out to my teammate of Nico Hülkenberg. But I am on the quicker tyre, and I do believe that I am quicker than my teammates around this circuit. So here we go, on the back of Nico Hülkenberg, going down in towards the final corners. We're watching ahead of us, so Toro Rosso having a little bit of a battle with a Force India. I believe that's Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon. But here we are using the DRS on my teammate. It should be a fairly simple move at the end of the day. And there we go, on the right-hand side of Nico Hülkenberg, and getting the job done, under braking, getting the inside line as Nico Hülkenberg tries to hang it around the outside of turn 1, but can't quite do anything. We had the inside line, and there we go, moving up into P13. Now hunting down Carlos Sainz for P12 of this Bahrain Grand Prix. He's going to have a bit of team radio now.
You've lost access to one of the gears. We've lost one of the gears due to a fault.
So unfortunately, with a gearbox failure that we've had on this car today, we've lost one of the gears. Now at this point, I didn't know which gear I had actually lost in this race. As we go down in towards turn 1, still trying to follow behind Carlos Sainz. He locks up big time, but we've lost second gear, which is really crucial. It's not that bad. It's not really terrible, because we only really need second gear for about 3 or 4 corners on this circuit. So we can still sort of hanging out through third gear, but it really caught us out by surprise at today's race.
We've looked at the gearbox issue, but I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Try and drive around it. We'll just have to hope for the best. Remember that you have a lot of torque in these power units, so you should be able to stay in higher gears for a lot of the lap.
So just like Jeff confirming there, we should be able to stay in higher gears for the course of the lap. So that means they're sort of running turn 3. This is a good example through this very tricky turn 9, turn 10. Quite hard to get the car turned in for that corner, especially in third gear. But we are just going to have to make do with this car, and we're still going on the attack of Carlos Sainz, even though we are missing second gear, and that's sort of hurting us through the slow corners. But here we are on the back of the Toro Rosso driver, and like I said with the gearbox failure, it's not really the end of the world. Second gear is probably the best gear that could probably go around this circuit. If it was like gear 6 or 7, that would really struggle at today's race. But here we are on the right hand side of Carlos Sainz, down in towards turn 1, braking a little bit earlier than we usually do, because we have to try and get the car slowed down in this third gear. Not the greatest of acceleration out of turn 2, but Carlos Sainz not able to hang around the inside of turn 2, and there we go, job done on the Toro Rosso driver, and moving up into P12. And now seeing whether we can hunt down Esteban Ocon for 11th place, but I feel like that's the best that we're going to be able to do in today's race. We come around the final corner now. Kimi Raikkonen, the Finnish driver, is going to make it 3 race winners out of 3. Kimi Raikkonen wins the Bahrain Grand Prix here today. Fantastic result for the Scuderia Ferrari man. It is Lewis Hamilton who finishes in 2nd place, I believe, with Sebastian Vettel in 3rd and Valtteri Bottas in 4th place. And this championship is really heating up at the moment. 3 race winners out of 3 races. And just to confirm that we've actually got second gear back at the end of the race. I didn't really notice it until the last lap, so I didn't actually know when we got second gear lap. We could have got it back a lot earlier, and we may have actually been able to go on the charge of Esteban Ocon in this race. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't have been points anyway. It would have only been for a bit of reputation and a bit of dignity of getting P11 in today's race. But through the final couple of corners, we had some issues, but it's still been an absolutely fantastic race from us, starting from P16 on the grid, working our way through the field, had a nice couple of battles with the AI drivers, and still able to make overtakes even with a gearbox failure. It's only going to be P12, 0 points added to our tally for today's race, but a solid drive to get back up into a respectable position. A great race then here today. Unfortunately, the result just doesn't show that, getting a P12 and no points on the board for today's race. But Kimi Räikkönen is the race winner with Lewis Hamilton second. Sebastian Vettel rounds out the podium in his Ferrari. Valtteri Bottas fourth. Max Verstappen in fifth with Felipe Massa sixth and Daniel Ricciardo seventh. Sergio Perez into eighth place with Roman Grosjean ninth and Kevin Magnussen getting the final championship points here today. Esteban Ocon in 11th, myself in 12th and Carlos Sainz in 13th. Then we have Nico Hülkenberg 14th, my teammate, not having the best of races once again and being beaten by myself with Lance Stroll 15th. Danny Kvyat in 16th, Fernando Alonso 17th, Marcus Ericsson 18th, Pascal Wehrlein 19th, and Stoffel Van Dorn right at the back of the field. No DNFs for today's race. The reliability didn't actually seem too bad at today's Bahrain Grand Prix. Drivers' Championship then, and after 3 rounds of the season, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, and Valtteri Bottas are separated by 4 points at the moment. That's absolutely incredible, with Kimi Räikkönen hot on their heels after the race win here today. 13 points separating the top 4 drivers at the moment. And could we see this battle continue over the rest of the season? I surely hope so. I hope this battle will continue over the rest of the season. Once again, though, we are not in the top half of the field, way down in 14th place still with only 1 point on the board. But hopefully a good race in Russia and we could maybe work our way into like the top 12 or something like that. We'll just have to wait and see as the rest of the season goes on. Finally then, the Constructors' Championship, and Renault still holding on to that 8th place with McLaren and Sauber yet to score any points this season. We need to get some decent points on board though in order to overtake Toro Rosso and Haas. If we can sort of slot in to 6th place in this season, then that'll be a really, really good result for both myself and the team. But that is it for today's Bahrain Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash a like on the video. The first episode of this series got about 150 likes. So if we can get 150 likes on this episode, once again, that'll be absolutely incredible. Don't forget to let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And don't forget to share this video with your friends. And I will see you next time at the Russian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.